you. Want to sit down? Hi there. Today's practice, we're going to combine breath and movement to try to get as much expansion in the lungs as possible and to decrease any adhesions that there might be in the lungs. This is something that's always a good thing for us to do, but particularly right now, we want to keep those lungs moving and expanding as much as we can. So you're going to start seated. If it's comfortable for you, seated in a cross-legged position. Max, lie down. Lie down. Seated in a cross-legged position. If that's not comfortable for you, just sit in a chair with your feet firmly planted on the ground. So whichever one you've chosen, you're going to place your hand either on your chair or on the floor. Other hand goes behind the head. If that creates any tension in the neck or shoulder, you can place the back of the hand on the forehead instead, whichever one works better for you. We're going to be tipping over sideways, but you want to keep it quite small. So a lot of you may recognize this exercise, and we often do it to open the whole side body. That's not our purpose today. We really want to be mobilizing the lung, and the lung is from the diaphragm up, so roughly from the bra strap up. So you can think of the sternum, the breastbone, and you're trying to side bend that bone and that many of the vertebrae, not all the way down into your waist. So hand behind the head. We're going to inhale to tip over sideways and pause here for a breath out. Next inhale, you're going to lift through the heart and spiral to look towards that top elbow. On the exhale, you're going to round through the upper back and aim elbow to elbow. So we're trying to open up at the back of the lung. Inhale, spiral open, lift the heart so that you're extending through the spine. Exhale, spiral and round to face down. Go nice and slow so that you really take your time to get all the sticky parts of the lungs to start sliding and gliding on each other. We have a fascia called the pleura that wraps the lungs and actually wraps every single lobe of the lungs. And sometimes even just after a simple cold, those tissues can get a little sticky. They can start to stick on each other, which will restrict the expansion of the lungs. Let's do one last one here, round and down. Inhale, spiral and lift through the heart. Turn to face the front and come on up tall. And just stay here for a moment, take one full breath in and out, and just notice if the right and left sides feel any differently from each other. Let's actually take 2 or 3. So in my case, I feel so much longer and lighter on the side that I just moved and that I just breathed into, and I feel the breath easily getting into the back of the lung, whereas before I was only noticing the front. The experience might be different from you. Whatever your experience is, notice it, and let's do the other side. So first you place the hand either behind the head or back of the hand on the front of the forehead, or if even that's not available to you, it's no problem to just cross the hand to the opposite shoulder like so, okay? So we're going to inhale to tip over just enough to move the lung. We're not doing this for the lower back here. Inhale, spiral and look towards the ceiling. Exhale, round and down, elbow to elbow. Always find it a good idea, if you're not able to visualize the anatomy in your mind, just take a moment before you do the practice and pull up an image of the lungs on Google, because the more connected you can be to the parts we're trying to work with, the parts we're trying to move, the more successful you'll be in your attempts. Again, exhale, round and down. It's really tempting to make the movement bigger and go all the way down into the lower back and waist, but that is not our goal today. We're really trying to isolate the action of the lungs. We're trying to get that spiral through the lobes of the lungs. Let's do 2 more. That part of the upper back, the upper thoracic spine, is also where the innervation to the lungs comes from. So the more mobile we can make that part of the spine and rib cage, the better able our lungs are to expand and deliver oxygen to the rest of the body for us. Turn to face the front, come on up tall, and let's compare. So eyes closed, just take a couple of breaths and just see, how does the body feel now that you've done both sides? How does it feel compared to when you started? For me, it feels fantastic. I feel like I've got these really ballooned lungs, it feels great. So you can do that as often as you like, especially if you've had a cold, pneumonia, anything that's affected the lungs. This is a nice way